What's going on, everybody? Yo, man, hit the like button, subscribe, follow your boy. Let's get right into it. So, it's spooky season, right? It's Halloween time. Now, what I'm going to do is give you guys 10 random Halloween specials that I like to watch from time to time. So, let's get right into it. Now, right out the gate, I'm going to start off with honorable mention. I know I said 10, but I'll sneak in 11 for you guys.
There's no haunted doll in there.
Corey in the House. Now, this episode right here is not really, I want to say, a Halloween based episode, but it kind of has some type of Halloween theming into it. So, long story short, Corey, he basically tricks Sophia into doing a little Sophia type doll, and he kind of scammed her into it. And then, like, throughout the whole episode, basically it's like the little doll is kind of haunting him. And I think that was just kind of funny, because you have a scene where he's at the school and then the doll pops up in the locker, and then his friend comes and the doll is gone. And then there's another scene where he's inside of his bedroom, and I think he's kind of like reading a magazine, and he puts the doll down, and then he turns his head, the doll moves again. So I think it's just kind of funny because it deals on the whole, haunted doll trope. But at the end of the episode, we realize that Sophia basically planned this whole thing just to get some get back on him. But I thought that was a cool little honorable mention just to put into this video.
But I almost beat the last level! I'm the last level! You must beat me in the wrestling ring! If I win, you must return to the spirit world!
Okay, but if I win, you must go in my place!
Huh? Ah! No! Thank goodness I'm not a spirit! And that's not gonna happen!
Alright, you guys, so number 10, hands down, gotta go to Mucho Lucho. Now, this is a show that I feel as if it don't get much love. A lot of people don't really talk about this show. Now, this is a show I used to love watching when it was on Kids WB. Now, in this Halloween-based episode, I know that it was like, I think it was the Day of the Dead, and then Ricochet had to fight off, I forgot one of the characters' names, but he had to fight off one of those characters. And then if not, he'll get stuck inside the video game. So they had to wrestle. I mean, it was pretty crazy. Then I know the Flea, like they had to give them some type of food because apparently they like to eat food. And that would kind of like stop them. Now, honestly, I don't remember too much of this show. Like I had to go back and watch a couple clips and a couple scenes just to refresh my memory on it. But this episode was pretty cool because I just love how it touched on the whole Latino and Spanish heritage of the show. And at the time, you never really got, I guess, that type of exposure, especially like in the early 2000s. Because I think this show came out, I want to say like 05, 03, around 03 to 06, if I'm not mistaken. But the representation was really, really, really phenomenal. And this was a really, really cool Halloween-based episode because it did touch on, the Night of the Dead, basically, the whole festival. So I always thought this was a really, really cool cartoon show to watch.
Trick or treat!
How dare you! A grown man and woman trick-or-treating freaks!
All right, number 9, hands down, gotta go to Cow and Chicken, Dad Goes Coast to Coast. Now, I know they was ripping off basically the Ghost Coast to Coast from Cartoon Network. Now, honestly, I wasn't a fan of that show growing up. That was probably like a little bit before my time. But what I love about this episode of Cow and Chicken is that, they go out trick-or-treating after watching, the Dad Goes parody basically on TV. So they dress up as adults, kind of resembling their parents. And, the funny thing about Cow and Chicken is we never truly get a chance to see their parents' faces. I think they always get cut off from like the waist down or whatever. But they dressed up as adults and they go trick-or-treating. And then like the remarks and the reactions to a lot of people when they knock on some of their doors and they say, yo, you guys are grown-ups trick-or-treating, like, yo, come on, like, you guys need to be kids. Like, it is so funny with the reactions. And we all know, like, Cow and Chicken is like a very, very over-the-top type of cartoon. I mean, honestly, like, some of the theming and some of the jokes kind of feel as if it was a little bit, I want to say, for like an older audience. Like, Cow and Chicken kind of reminds me of Ren and Stimpy. But I just love just like the over the top nature. And then looking back on this episode, I kind of forgot when Cow would dress up as, I think, like Super Cow, and then she was like her otter or whatever, and like shoots milk out. like this, this Halloween special was just like ridiculous. But I do love the aspect of like they finally was able, to get some candy at the end of the episode when they went down, to the radio station, basically, to mess with Dead Ghost or whatever. But this episode was like really, really crazy. I think it's still a fun episode to watch, especially for, Halloween time. Even though it's a very quick episode, I want to say it's only about like 11 minutes long, but it still touches on everything, the comedy, the thrills. You get a little bit of the atmosphere as well too. They're dressed up as costumes. They're going door to door. But Cow and Chicken is always a fun show to watch for real.
We call this curse the Season of the Skull.
Number 8, hands down, got to go to Super Force Monkey Team Hyperforce Go. Now, this was a really, really cool Halloween-based episode. So I remember the Hyperforce team, they had to go off, and they were searching for, I think, this Little Worm character, and then they got stuck into this this village, right? And then this village had like some creepy looking people. Now, I want to say like at a certain time, it was like these demon looking things, and they used to fly down and they used to capture all the kids. Now, it was this husband and wife character, and they warned them like, hey, the demons will come down, take our kids. You got to wear these masks. These masks basically, helped us out. It make you stronger to defend against these demons, but we need you guys to capture this certain type of flame. Now, I know that this episode kind of rips off The Wicker Man, if I'm not mistaken, but it's a really, really cool episode because I feel as if the atmosphere and the theming of this episode was really cool. The animation was really, really dope. Like, I want to say some of these creatures, they looked kind of cool. Now, there is a twist at the end of the episode, which I'm pretty sure as kids, well, I want to say some kids, they probably seen this coming maybe a mile away, but it turns out the husband and wife character, they're also demons as well too. They transform at the end of the episode. So I thought that was also pretty cool. But Monkey Force was always a pretty decent show. I mean, this was kind of a show I used to watch like here and there, but again, like as in the atmosphere, the theming of this episode, it touched on some type of creepy demons as well too. The animation, the art style was really dope as well too. It's still I want to say a really good Halloween special, to look back on at times.
Whoa, those are some crazy costumes. Trick or treat.
All right, number 7. Hands down, gotta go to Jackie Chan Adventures. Now, this was the Fright Fight Night episode. Now, I know that Jackie, at the start of the episode, he was looking for this Oni mask, and the Dark Hand was out trying to get him, basically, right? So he finally gets his hands on the mask, and then I guess he kind of like sit it down somewhere, and then El Paco basically took the mask because he wanted to be scary, and nobody was feeling that his costume was scary enough. So when he puts on the mask, he basically turned into this demon. And then it is kind of funny because after that, he goes trick-or-treating, and throughout the night, he's turning more and more into this demon, basically. So it was one scene in the episode where I think he like knocks on the door, and then he summons up his shadow cons, and then all he wanted was the candy. And the guy, the adult that answers the door, he got like freaked out, and it was really, really funny. But honestly, like Jackie Chan Adventures was always like a fun show because, of course, you get your action, you get your comedy. Jackie, I feel as if with Jackie's voice acting, I thought it was always funny growing up. He used to be like, Betty, Betty, Betty. That used to be so funny in the episode. But this was also a really good episode because I just like how, they go around the whole city and they trying to catch, El Paco, because again, he's wearing the Oni mask. Even I think later in the episode where I think he knocked on Uncle's door. Uncle, he always be like, Jackie. And then he was on the phone with Jackie, and Jackie was trying to tell him like, yo, El Paco took the Oni mask. But at the same time as he's talking to him, he's giving candy to El Paco. He's like, dang, like, this is a really good Japanese Oni costume. And then that's when he realized like, oh snap, that's him. But but this was always a really, really good Halloween special. This is one of my favorite Halloween specials I like to go back and watch. But again, Jackie Chan Adventures is always a great show, for real.
Nah, I've already got too much candy. I mean, even a horde of candy pirates couldn't finish all this off.
Number 6, hands down, gotta go to Codename Kids Next Door. Okay, Operation Tricky. Now, what I love the most about Codename Kids Next Door is that it really makes you want to be a kid again because of like the imagination of this show. You know, for instance, they all live in a tree house, and I feel as if like the concepts and ideas of like each and every episode, it really expands upon the imagination of kids. So again, you know, it's Halloween. Number 4, he don't go trick-or-treating. He don't like going trick-or-treating. So, you know, number 1, 2, 3, and 5, they basically kind of like place a bet. Was like, yo, let's see who gets the most candy by the end of the night. And then of course number 4 basically goes on this crazy adventure, and he runs into freaking, you know, Sticky Beard. And I just love how Sticky Beard and his pirates, they had like this super huge pirate ship, but they had like the front of it was like pretending to be a house. So every kid that basically comes and rings on the doorbell, they would take the kids candy. I always thought that was kind of cool. And then even like the Sticky Beard character, he would have lollipops and candy like stuck in his beard, and I just always thought that was just funny. Like, it's just, and even his hook fun hand was a freaking candy cane, and then his teeth was all rotten with a bunch of cavities. But Sticky Beard was always a fun character. But I just love how like number 4 basically tricked them. You know, they think he had like a super huge bag of candy, but it was a bag of bricks. So when they came down and take the bag, and when they bit it, the guy's teeth went to breaking. But it was always really, really fun. Like I said, Codename Kids Next Door is always like a fun, entertaining show to watch. Again, like the over-the-top nature of a freaking giant pirate ship is like riding through the cul-de-sac, and number 4 is the one that's steering it. But at the end of the episode, number 4 was able to get all the candy. I mean, he had a whole pirate ship full of candy. So I always thought that was cool. But again, Codename Kids Next Door, we all know that's a classic show for real.
What are you? Oh, you wretched!
He's the one!
Number 5, hands down, gotta go to Invader Zim. Now, honestly, you could kind of say like every episode of Invader Zim kind of feels like a Halloween based episode because of just how dark this cartoon show was. Like, honestly, this is one of the few cartoon shows I can really say like it was very questionable for kids because of just the dark theming. Even the animation styles, the animations is like just ridiculous, grotesque, and pretty crazy. But in this particular Halloween special, you know, Dib, he's already crazy as it is, right? But he was tweaking with some machine, you know, from his father. I think he wanted to try to get like the best Halloween costume or whatever, but it was messing with his mind, his imagination. So basically he started to kind of fade in and out of existence, right? And then Zim them, they got trapped inside of his mind. So then everything else inside of his head was kind of like a more hyper realization of like, you know, all the characters and all the people in the city. Again, everybody looked at grotesque, everybody looked at crazy, everybody looked at over the top. And of course, in Invader Zim fashion, like, it just craziness that pursues. But they had to try to escape. And then I forgot the teacher's name, the teacher character, but she was looking like some freaking, like, I don't know, like some spider looking monster that was chasing them. And again, like, it was funny because Zim was able to escape he was able to get out of Dib's imagination, out of his mind, and it kind of left him trapped. And then when Dib finally got out at the end of the episode, and then the teacher character, she tried to escape, but when she escapes to the real world and got a chance to see like real humans, she was like, yo, everybody else here look disgusting. And I thought that was kind of funny because, again, all the people in his head was looking crazy and grotesque. Like Invader Zim is always a crazy, insane show, but the animation style, everything, the over the top facial expressions that that goes on in this show was always freaking crazy. But as kids, we enjoyed it very much.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10! It's Spookyville! Is my brother the man or what?
This is Spookyville?
Number 4, hands down, gotta go to Ed, and Eddy. Now, Ed, and Eddy is like, I want to say probably one of my favorite cartoon shows, okay? Because just like every episode, the Eds try to scam everybody in the cul-de-sac. Now, what I love the most about this show is the most craziest sound effects. Like when they used to do that whole, that sumo wrestler sound effect, sudo, and just like all the sound effects in this show is crazy. But in this particular Halloween special, your boy Ed, he was watching like a lot of horror movies. I'm talking about like old school horror movies, to the point he started to like hallucinate. So throughout the episode, he would hallucinate and see things or whatever. And I just always like that because during his hallucinations, I feel as if like the art style kind of changed. Like it kind of looked like a old school grainy film look, and I just thought that was a really, really cool aspect of the episode. But, I think Eddy, his older brother, was telling him that he needs to go to this mystical town. I think it was called Spookyville, and they could get like the most amount of candy. So the whole episode, they looking for, Spookyville. They following this map that his older brother gave him. And it just turns out, it just end up going back to his own house at the end of the episode. But of course, in Eddy fashion, a whole bunch of shenanigans ensue. And I just love this show. The show is always a great show. One of my favorite shows. Again, the sound effects, the animation style, everything was dope. This was always like a fun Halloween special, just to look at, I want to say, from time to time.
I've got just the treat you kids want. Proud, scary. Huh? What's wrong with those kids?
Your face on the wrappers probably scared them.
Yeah, you probably... Hey, nobody insults Oscar Proud at his own house.
Where do they go to insult you?
You better beat it before I hurt you, Pops.
Number 3, hands down, gotta go to the Proud family. Now, in this particular episode, it was really, really cool because, Penny Proud, she wasn't in the mood for Halloween. She didn't want to go trick-or-treating or whatever. But, her dad, Oscar, basically dressed her up as, I think, Snack Girl, because he was like Snack Dad. And we all know his Proud snacks is like hella nasty. Nobody wants to eat them. But it was really cool because in this particular episode, she gained superpowers when she ate the Proud snacks, and she was flying around, and she was basically saving people, stopping crime. Now, when all this is going on, all her friends was at the Wizard Kelly Halloween party that I'm not sure if she got invited to or she wasn't allowed to go. Well, her mom let her go. I think I want to say midway through the episode. But again, she was Snack Girl, basically flying around saving people while they was at the Halloween party. Now, I want to say the more funnier aspect of the episode was back at their house where her dad and her mom was being haunted by that ghost. And when the ghost pulled up and knocked on the door, I thought it was just really, really, really funny, with his response. He was really, really pissed off about them living in his house for the last 10 years. And I think Oscar Proud basically bought the house for $500. That is super cheap. I wish I could buy my house for $500. But again, the Proud family is always funny. The jokes, the comedic timing, everything from Sugar Mama everybody, like Proud Family is always like a really, really good time, a really, really good show to watch. And again, I feel as if they really touched on, the theming of Halloween, because again, they was at a party, a Halloween themed party. Everybody was dressed up. The Proud Family, they was also having a party at their house, a Halloween based party. So I feel as if this was a really, really good Halloween special because it really touches on and it shows how fun Halloween can truly be.
Oh my God.
Greg!
He said Gwig! Well. Oh, wow.
Number 2, hands down, gotta go to Drake and Josh, Alien Invasion. Now, I love the Drake and Josh show. Drake and Josh is like a very, very funny show. Honestly, it's one of like the few like sitcoms that I watched as a kid because I was mainly like cartoons and, wrestling and football. But in this particular episode, Drake and Josh, they wanted to get revenge on Megan because we all know Megan, she will always, do pranks on them. So they really wanted some get back. Now this episode was really cool because I kind of feel as if they kind of maybe stole, you could say, the idea from Hey Arnold. Like I said, like Arnold's Halloween, where everybody dressed up as aliens and they was on a radio and they basically like tricked the whole city. In a way, this episode of Drake and Josh is that episode in the nutshell because they basically kind of did the same exact thing. She had like all her little science equipment or whatever, antennas and radio, and she was trying to listen in on aliens. And basically they use their own like walkie-talkies and little radio station to basically intercept her line and to pretend to talk like aliens. I ain't gonna lie, that was a really funny moment. But they tricked her into believing that aliens exist. And then later on in the episode, they dressed up as aliens, which I'm not gonna lie, the props and the makeup was really good. But she actually tricked them because she pretended to be more scared, and then she's like, yo, hey, like, what are you guys doing? Like, I think there's actually is aliens. And then like another person that came dressed up as an alien, it popped up and showed, and and it scared them. But Drake and Josh is always like a fun show to watch, basically.
Hey, Charles.
Listen to me. You are not a cow. You are a human being.
Yeah, I know, but Ray, that was some good hat. Listen, let's just...
Number 1, I gotta give it to That's So Raven, Don't Have a Cow. Now, this episode was really funny. Now, again, I touched on, previously, I wasn't like a huge fan of like watching sitcoms, but I watched That's So Raven. Like Raven Simone, her comedic timing is always on point. She's always funny. Now, this particular episode, I feel as if it really does a good job. So you get the aspect of them, getting turned into a cow. So they try to get invited to this party or whatever, and then they use like this magical book and they did a spell to get invited to the party. But Chelsea had like this cow pen on her, and it fell into the pot and it turned them into cows. Now I love like throughout the episode, you just see like their transformation slowly into a cow. First it starts out with their ears, then they had tails, and then I want to say, well, like Raven or Chelsea be talking, and then they be moo, like they be talking and stuff like that. I just feel as if the comedic timing was always good with That's So Raven. Now the B plot storyline was with Corey and his father. Now every year you go trick-or-treating with your son, but this particular year Corey wanted to go trick-or-treating with his friend. So his dad was kind of like sad about it, but I guess when Corey was out there trick-or-treating with his friend, they had like a disastrous time. So it was kind of funny because when he came back home, he was like, all right, Dad, you know what? I'll go trick-or-treating with you again. And they just ran out and, went back out there. I thought that was kind of funny. But of course, like the main storyline how Chelsea and Raven, they was slowly turning into cows. They was at the party, and then I think it was a scene where like Chelsea was like eating somebody's hat. And then like the prosthetics and like the makeup on their face, I ain't gonna lie, it looked crazy. It was always funny. But That's So Raven is like always a really, really fun show to watch, especially that Halloween episode. I thought they just touched on every single thing, man. The theming, the laughs, the thrills. Like, That's So Raven, I feel as if it's like a really, really good Halloween special to watch. But there it is, 10 random Halloween specials. You guys let me know in the comments, let me know what Halloween special you guys like to watch. What was y'all favorite? Leave a comment. Let me know. Thank you guys for watching. I'm out.